Electrical estimating can be approached in several ways, and it is important to understand the nuances of each method to ensure accurate and profitable bidding. Two common methods are bidding by square footage and bidding by the outlet. The method chosen often depends on the specifics of the job, the available information, and the estimator's experience. Bidding by the outlet involves estimating the cost of each electrical outlet required for the project. An outlet can encompass various devices, including receptacles, switches, lighting fixtures, data ports, and other termination points. The process begins with a thorough review of the project plans and specifications to identify the number and type of outlets needed. Each type of outlet is then priced based on the cost of materials and the labor hours required for installation. The material cost includes the cost of the device itself, wiring, conduit boxes, and any other necessary hardware. Labor costs are estimated based on the time it takes to install each outlet, considering factors such as accessibility, working conditions, and the complexity of the installation. When bidding by the outlet, it is crucial to define precisely what constitutes an outlet. For example, a receptacle is typically considered an outlet, but what about a switch that controls a lighting fixture? Or a data port for networking? It is important to establish clear definitions to avoid misunderstandings and ensure that all necessary components are included in the bid. Recessed cans, also known as can lights or downlights, are a common type of lighting fixture used in residential and commercial buildings. Whether recessed cans are included as outlets in an electrical bid depends on the specific project requirements and the estimator's approach. In some cases, each recessed can is counted as a separate outlet, especially if it requires individual wiring and connections. In other cases, recessed cans may be grouped together or included as part of a lighting circuit, depending on the design and complexity of the installation. To accurately estimate the cost of recessed cans, several factors must be considered. Firstly, the type and size of the can light will affect the material cost. Different types of bulbs may be used, such as LED, incandescent, or halogen, each with varying energy efficiency and lifespan. Secondly, the installation of recessed cans can be labor-intensive, especially if it involves cutting into ceilings or working in tight spaces. The estimator should consider the time required for each installation, including wiring, mounting, and connecting the fixture. Finally, it is important to factor in any additional materials needed, such as wiring, connectors, and mounting hardware. Heating and air conditioning HVAC systems often require electrical connections for their operation. Whether these connections are included in an electrical bid or separated depends on the scope of work and the agreement between the electrical contractor and the general contractor or owner. In some cases, the electrical contractor may be responsible for providing all electrical connections to the HVAC equipment, including wiring, disconnects, and control circuits. In other cases, the HVAC contractor may handle the electrical connections themselves, or a separate electrical contractor may be hired specifically for this purpose. When including HVAC electrical connections in an electrical bid, it is important to carefully review the project specifications to determine the exact requirements. This includes the voltage, amperage, and wiring configuration of the HVAC equipment, as well as any specific control or safety devices that need to be installed. Additionally, the estimator should consider the location of the HVAC equipment and the distance from the electrical panel, as this will affect the amount of wiring and conduit required. Bidding by square footage involves estimating the cost of electrical work based on the total square footage of the building or area being wired. This method is often used for large-scale projects where the electrical requirements are relatively uniform throughout the space. The estimator typically starts by determining a cost per square foot based on historical data from similar projects. This cost includes the cost of materials, labor, and overhead. The cost per square foot can vary depending on several factors, including the type of building, the complexity of the electrical system, and the local labor rates. For example, a commercial building with extensive lighting and power requirements will typically have a higher cost per square foot than a residential building with basic electrical needs. To accurately estimate the cost per square foot, the estimator should consider all aspects of the electrical work, including wiring, lighting, power outlets, and any specialized systems such as fire alarms or security systems. They should also factor in any unique challenges or requirements of the project, such as high ceilings, difficult access, or the need for specialized equipment. One advantage of bidding by square footage is that it is relatively quick and easy to calculate, especially for large projects with repetitive electrical layouts. However, it can also be less accurate than bidding by the outlet, particularly if the electrical requirements vary significantly throughout the building. For example, a building with a mix of office space, retail space, and manufacturing space may have vastly different electrical needs in each area, making it difficult to accurately estimate the cost per square foot for the entire building. A complete material list is essential for accurate electrical estimating, regardless of whether you are bidding by the outlet or by square footage. A material list is a detailed inventory of all the materials required for the electrical work, including wiring, conduit, boxes, fixtures, and devices. The material list should specify the quantity, size, and type of each item, as well as the unit cost and total cost. Creating a material list helps to ensure that all necessary materials are included in the bid and that the costs are accurately calculated. It also provides a valuable tool for managing materials during the project, helping to prevent shortages and delays. To create a material list, the estimator should carefully review the project plans and specifications and identify all the electrical components required. They should also consult with suppliers to obtain accurate pricing and availability information. The material list should be organized in a logical manner, such as by system or by area, to facilitate tracking and management. The list should also include a contingency allowance to cover any unexpected material costs or changes to the project. Accurately defining what is included in an electrical bid is crucial for avoiding misunderstandings and ensuring that the project is completed to the satisfaction of all parties. The bid should clearly specify the scope of work, including the types of outlets, fixtures, and equipment that are included, as well as any exclusions or limitations. The bid should also specify the quality and type of materials that will be used, as well as any applicable codes or standards. It is important to clearly communicate these details to a customer and to obtain their written agreement before starting work. This helps to protect the electrical contractor from liability and ensures that the customer receives the services they expect. When presenting an electrical bid, it is helpful to provide a detailed breakdown of the costs, including materials, labor, and overhead. This helps the customer to understand how the bid was calculated and to compare it to other bids they may have received. The cost breakdown should be clear and concise, and it should be supported by accurate data and documentation. Additionally, it is helpful to provide a timeline for the project, including estimated start and completion dates. This helps the customer to plan their own activities and to manage their expectations. Successfully navigating the complexities of electrical estimating requires a combination of technical knowledge, experience, and attention to detail. By understanding the different bidding methods, creating accurate material lists, and clearly defining the scope of work, electrical contractors can increase their chances of winning bids and completing projects profitably. Remember that each job is different and should be treated as such, considering all the unique factors that may affect the cost and schedule. Firstly, consider the type of building, whether it is residential, commercial, or industrial. Secondly, understand the complexity of the electrical system needed. Thirdly, take into account the local labor rates and material costs. Fourthly, factor in any unique challenges or requirements of the project, such as tight deadlines or difficult access. Finally, carefully review the project plans and specifications. By carefully considering all of these factors, electrical contractors can develop accurate and competitive bids that reflect the true cost of the work.